Welcome back to Anime in Blender, the series where I break down how I made various anime scenes, all in Blender 3D. In the last episode, we made the 4-star Dragon Ball from the series Dragon Ball, of course. So that's linked below if you want to check that video out. But in this episode, we'll be focusing on Naruto, one of my personal favorite anime. If you've seen the show, you know that this is the 4th Hokage's special technique, the Flying Rasen. This is probably my favorite render from last year, so I'm very excited to finally make this video. So, let's get started. To start off, I delete the default cube. Then I add in a cylinder. This will be to make the handle out of the kunai. This is a fairly simple shape requiring small extrusions on both ends to give a similar shape as seen in the reference image. Then, to make the ring of the weapon, I added a torus. I don't really bother with trying to make any seamless transitions from the handle to the ring. Making the faces overlap is just fine. So creating the actual kunai was the most difficult part of the process. I wanted to get somewhat clean topology while also limiting the amount of vertices. So that's why you see me starting off with a cube, then scaling and extruding to give a very basic kunai shape. One thing that sped up the process is adding in a mirror modifier, so that I only need to work on one side of the weapon. The next major part was getting the taper effect on the kunai, where we'll see some actual pointiness on the weapon. By pressing G twice, the vertices will slide along the mesh as opposed to actually moving them in 3D space. So I bring the edges inwards like so, and that gives a sharper look to the kunai. To level up the kunai, what I decided to do was adding a subdivision surface modifier to give the model a more high-res look. Adding this in will make the whole model look like a soft mess like so. Therefore, you'll need to either use creasing, like I tried here, but this didn't really work out so well, or you can use edge loops, like I do here. So one thing you need to make sure of is that the sharp edges aren't showing up where you don't want them to appear. So you can see me using the edge slide function once again to dissipate any unnecessary sharp edges. I actually enjoyed this part. It was a little challenge trying to find which edge loops would get me the desired effect. However, it managed to turn out quite nicely. Once I finished adding in all of the supporting edge loops, this is how the model turned out. I was quite happy at this stage, so I called the modeling part complete and I decided to start adding in the materials. So the materials are actually very simple. It's using this image texture, linked in the description below, to get the scratches on the surface, along with a bump node to emphasize and give depth to these scratches. After that, I plugged them into a principled BSDF, where I altered the values for the metallic and roughness to get this semi-shiny look to it. To alter how the image appears on the model, I do a smart UV unwrap, which does a nice job of separating the model into distinct UV islands. However, at a glance, you'll notice how symmetrical the scratches appear, which could be quite distracting as it does detract from some of the realism of the model. So I apply the mirror modifier and unwrap once more. Now you'll see that the scratches aren't symmetrical and it looks a lot better. So as you can see, the kunai is made out of one darker metal and one lighter metal. So I duplicate the original metal, creatively named Metal 1, but this time I make it black by adding in a mix RGB node, setting it to multiply, increasing the factor, then changing the color to black. I assigned the correct material to the corresponding faces on the model. This took a while to kind of make sure it all turned out right. However, this is how the finished product looked. So the last material to add is the kunai wrappings with the Flying Rasen text on it. Again, this is a fairly simple process. Add in a new material, then we're going to need to add in this image texture, once again linked in the description below. Then we will need to add in a color ramp. One useful thing is to do a cylindrical UV unwrap, which will make it easier to plaster our image onto the mesh. I make sure to enable clipping on the image texture so that the text won't be repeating. Then I plug it into the color ramp like so. Here's all of the nodes on screen, just so that you can copy them for yourself. So the model for the kunai is complete. As you can see, all of the materials and the modeling is done. But now we need to make arguably the most striking part of the scene, the light beams. I made a tutorial on this exact node setup quite a while ago, and this is actually the project that the tutorial originated from. You can see the kunai in the thumbnail of that video. Anyway, it's a simple setup. I won't go through it in detail, so here are the nodes on screen now. However, if you want to go for bonus style points, then what we can do is use a noise texture to drive the factor of our mix node. We can play with the distortion and scale to achieve this cool wavy effect. You need to make sure to enable alpha hashed mode in material options in order for the transparency to work. Moving on, this section is the scene setup. This part took a lot of iterations to get the scene how I wanted. One useful tip that I employed was parenting the body of the kunai to an empty. I'll mainly talk about the general principles of setting up a scene. This is from my own limited experience, just things that I've picked up over the years. So, I enable guidelines in the camera settings in order to get a sense of where I want to position things. You'll also want to play around with the negative space in the scene. Negative space is basically the empty space or the space which the scene isn't focusing on. In my case, I envisioned the negative space to board the edges of the scene. As you can see in my final renders, none of the kunai infringe on this imaginary border. In terms of what you can tangibly apply in Blender to elevate your scene, you can enable screen space reflections, bloom, ambient occlusion, all that stuff. For some color management, what you can do is change the settings from none to medium high contrast, and you'll already notice a boost in visual flair. For lighting, play with it a lot. I added in a HDRI, but I didn't want the image to be seen, so I blurred it by encapsulating the whole scene in a sphere with a glass shader. Then I adjust the roughness so that nothing in the HDR image can be seen properly. Add in some lights to focus on the kunai. This will lend itself well with the bloom and the glare node that we'll be adding in the compositing session. Also, you'll want to play around with the focal length of the camera. I like to have a low focal length, but pulled in quite closely to the scene for a more dynamic look to it. This kind of increases the foreshortening, and I think that's just a cool effect. And finally, what I did to add in some real energy to the scene is first to enable motion blur. Then you'll want to keyframe the final position of your kunai, as in kunai plural, so where you want it to end up in your final render. Then go back a few frames, maybe 10 or so, and bring back your kunai on its local axis, so that the motion of travel is directly in line with the orientation of the weapon. Then you should keyframe that position. When you hit render, make sure that it's rendered on the correct frame. This is how my scene was set up. There are lots of kunai in this shot, with the main kunai being front and center, taking advantage of the aforementioned foreshortening, which is working great for the dynamic look of the scene. Alongside this, using the 3 area lights really helped to highlight the most important aspects of the scene, the wrappings, the pointed edges, and to really make the metal part shine. I definitely recommend playing around with the lighting, especially the HDRI, as this will completely change the look and the vibe of the scene. But with that all done, we can hit render, and this is how it turned out. Now this is a good render, but it's missing something. One sec. Much better. Just look at the difference a few nodes of compositing will do to your scene. I'll put the nodes on screen now for a little bit for you guys to copy. But that's it for this episode of Anime in Blender. I always have fun with these ones, so let me know if there's a particular series that you'd like me to do in the comment section below. If you managed to replicate what I did in this video, then send it to me on Instagram at oluwa.tammy. I love reposting what you guys make. But that's it for this video. There'll be more to come, so thank you for watching. DATTEBAYO!